Hey everyone, Michelle here. Thank you for joining me today on my channel. I am creating a process video today for the YouTube Sketch Hop. Now this is a hop I get together with some of my friends every second Friday of the month, and we all do a layout based on a sketch. And so this is the sketch for this month. Joanne picked out this great sketch, and I really love this sketch. It has, a variety of patterned papers. And there is a lot of pattern paper. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do any mixed media, since it is pretty paper driven, but I might. We'll see. And so I have picked out a couple of pictures that I want to use. Now, the prompt for the hop this month is either fall or holiday or season of any kind. It is wide open, so you gotta like that. And so the sketch calls for 2 pictures, 3 by 4, but I am doing 2 pictures, one that is a square 3.5 by 3.5, and the other one that is 3.5 by, I think, 2 something. And the reason why I wanted to go a little bit smaller is I wanted to use this text paper that I have left, and I wanted to have plenty of room on it. And so whether this is the mat, it might be, or if it is this larger piece, I don't know yet. If I decide that it'll be this larger piece, I can even add a little bit more top or bottom with something else to make that make sense. Now, I am using Curiosities in Willow Grove today, and I wanted to use this because I received it as the November limited edition kit. I created all of my layouts for my design team work over there, and I still had plenty of product left, so I thought I would do a little bonus layout. And so the only thing that I'm adding to it is this piece of paper. I did a layout and I used this side, and so I bought another piece of this so I could use the floral. So this might end up being this strip down here. Then I have this, and then for this notebook piece, I have a couple of options. I have this one that I've already kind of cut into a bit, but a lot of the interest and such is over on this side, which is fine, but I might cut into this piece so I can have some of the white over here. It might not make that much of a difference to cut into a brand new piece of paper. I don't know yet. So other than that, those are the main pieces that I have left. I have this green as well that will be either the matte or the larger piece in the sketch, depending on what I decide to do with here. It has the embellishments and then a title. And so I'll take a look through my what I have left for titles from the November limited edition kit. And if I can't find something that will work, I might dig into my acrylic titles for that. So yeah, so that's all my plan. So let's dig into it and see what we can come up with. All right, so I have a lot of my pieces cut out like I talked about, and I did go ahead and use my border punch there to create a little notebook trim on the right side. And then I find this twig wreath that I want to use for my circle element behind my title, like what was in the sketch. And I have a 4x6 card, so I just cut a circle out using my die cut machine and am going to back my wreath with this paper. And so I'm adhering it now. I'm using uh, my Sweet Petunia glue gun. You might have seen that. I think right now it has art glitter glue in it. It depends on which size I was using. One size I have art glitter glue, and the other size I still had some Nouveau glue left. So I am searching for some titles. I do have a few left from the collection. So I have um, a few that I am sorting out, but I also dig through some of my uh, uh, acrylic titles, and you'll see one come into play, and it is the acrylic that I end up using. So it's this Click and Snap. Now, this one is from Bramble Fox, and they do, have a coating on the top and on the back. And so that's why you can kind of see a bit of darker blue there. I just haven't pulled off that protective coating yet. So on the sketch, it had a little cluster of uh, uh, flowers. And so you saw that there at the end, what I was thinking about. So I did uh, ink my edges with round espresso, I believe. On the sketch, it has a linear piece of black. So I have found a couple of washi tapes that I am thinking for that. And so as you can see, I have moved on to a white background. I'm getting closer to deciding to do a little mixed media behind it. So this is kind of what I am going for. And I am going to go ahead and adhere these primary pieces together. And so I can move it as a whole. And you see, I am peeling off the top coating for my title there. And then I'm also going to use this little subtitle from the Vicki Boutin collection. And here is my piece that I'm using to base my title on top of. So it had a few little floral. So I don't think I mentioned I did take these larger block pieces to my sewing machine and did just a straight stitch in white around the edges just for some additional interest. Taking a look at some different embellishments that I might want to use, and I've decided I am going to do just a little bit of mixed media. It's going to be above and below my photo there, so I'm just going to mark it off and get busy. So I don't think I'm going to be using bunch of liquid or moisture, and so I'm going to use Vicki Boutin foundation paper just in case, but I'm not going to worry about chest sewing anything. So I grab my favorite brick stamp there with the gray archival ink, and now I used a little word stamp with my black permanent ink as well. And now I am looking at my crayons. So these are Distress ink crayons that I have put into palettes so I can use as watercolors. And so I believe I used a little bit of brushed sage and a little bit of antique linen. It's pretty amazing. The antique linen is just off the camera, but it is so green when you break it down into a palette. I was really surprised. And so that's why I also add some, um, it's either the brush sage or the gathered twigs. It might have been gathered twigs. So, because it looked like it had a little bit of brown to it, right? So I pull out one of my Vicki Boutin stencils, the with the large circles, and I'm using tumbled glass distress oxide on this, and I'm just going to add some circles. I'm doing some a little bit more faded and some a little bit darker, and that's going to be above and below. I wanted to kind of emulate one of the circle papers that she has in the collection. And so I have done that. I'm going to add some um, white splatters, and then this part will be complete. So not a whole lot, but enough where I can have some fun. So here is my layout with the major pieces attached and my title with my round element, my base element there for everything to kind of sit on. Now it had a kind of a reddish end, and there is some red in some of the flowers, but it kind of, I don't know, it felt like it stood out a little bit, so I just tore that off. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere my title with glossy accents after I peel off the uh, backing from behind my acrylic title there. I find glossy accents works the best for me since it dries so clear. I don't really have to worry about it um, oozing out. And so saw a little bit of my hair there, and I just want to make sure that's nice and straight. And so I use my T ruler to do that. And so now I am going to really get serious as far as my embellishments. So obviously I'm going to use a lot of flowers on this. And I am taking a look at my little cluster on top of that notebook page. I think about adding a critter, but it seemed just a little too big. And I want to add some leaves, and so I am kind of shopping for those. And I believe I decide to go with really smaller, thinner leaves for this embellishment. I do use some of the green ones in the cluster above just to separate those flowers from the background a little bit. And I decide to go with the purple instead of the red flower. And so there is some of the thinner sprigs that I go ahead and bring out. I'm going to add a little embellishment cluster at the top there to tie in the black strip that I'm going to be adding. I do also find a different little blue flower that has maybe a little bit more color to it, so I decided to use that one. And off camera to the side there, I am just digging through things. And so, obviously, um, if you're familiar with Vicky Boutin and 49 End Market, they always offer, there's so many offerings as far as embellishments. And so, both individually and then when you put them together, oh my gosh, there is just so much. So I use those glasses, and then I decide I'm going to put my flowers in this rustic jar vase. And I really like that because it just lifts the flowers a little bit so it's more on the same plane with my pictures. And I am and I'm going to take this off camera and do the gluing. So here is what I came up with. And so there you can see the black washi tape up at top. And I'm going to add a few little black splatters, and then I'm done. So be sure to check out all the talented creators. They are in the description. And thank you so much for everyone's support. Go ahead and hit like or subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you, everyone.